Hello, this is Nuggets Dungeon Terrain, episode 145. And in this episode, I'll be showing you my latest objective room for a zombie-based dungeon crawl game. Of course, many of the techniques here could be used in other apocalyptic settings, or Warhammer 40k, or ideas could be applied to weathering fantasy terrain as well. This is an example of a piece that's inspired by some material that was found, and not the other way around. So when I saw the lid from our old bumblebee hive, I decided that it was just the right scale and grade to be able to apply to a miniature terrain. After cleaning up the different layers, I worked out which part of the lid would work for the top of the cakeboard, the same cakeboards I'm using for the other objective rooms in the same game. Having decided on the top section, I then used a Dremel tool to shave off the bits that would allow me to be able to space it evenly on the board. Because I'm building an abandoned factory in a post-apocalyptic setting, it didn't worry me if some of the cuts were a little bit rough. This would just add to the effect of rusting metal later on. So here's the piece of plastic that I settled on, and how I'm going to align it with the rest of the board. Next, I used a thick wooden dowel to make the supports. The supports are going to need to hold up the second tier. I decided to make it just the right height so that the largest of my zombie pieces would be able to fit underneath. I used small dowel rods as the additional supports. All of these wooden pieces would be painted black and made to look like metal later on. Here I made a mountain out of rectangular foam pieces. This is going to be a whole pile of freight or boxes, which is going to give access to the second level. There won't be any additional ladders or anything else. This stack will then be covered with towel paper and coated in PVA glue to make a tarpaulin. This technique I've used in many of my other post-apocalyptic videos, so just check them out. Because the plastic mold had this particular slot in it, I decided to put a couple of skewers through and make it look like this was an intentional raised pipe platform. I took the cog from a wind-up toy and a couple of ends from a two-part epoxy tube and added them to this foam block to make it look like some kind of generator or abandoned engine. Here I took some old necklace jewellery. Each of these blocks had 3 holes, so I put skewers through the holes on the ends of 2 pieces and made it look like a run of pipes. With a small amount of adjusting of the length, I was then able to run these pipes between the 2 overhanging sections of the upper platform. This also added extra stability and an interesting place for characters to move across. I then created 2 sets of corresponding downpipes for each end of this system. I just used a piece of foam block, lined up 3 more skewers, and then drew some brickwork around it. I created a furnace by adding these couple of round scraps together. This piece of plastic from some packaging looked just like a hatchway, so I trimmed it off and added it to the front. I found a couple of screw caps and realized they fitted exactly onto this dowel rod, so I created a pipe out of them. There was a slight warping at this back section, and it was a little bit weak for when miniatures would be put on there, so I decided to make this little bit of paneling with some pipe and brickwork and add it to the back. Here's some of the steps for that. Lots of the other techniques that I used are covered in the other videos that I've made, so be sure to check the playlist if you're curious, or pop a question down below and I'll direct you to the right place. In the meantime, here's some close-up shots of the completed project. So hey, thanks for watching, and if there's anything in this video that inspired you, please be sure to hit the like button, and I'll catch you next time.